Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm taking you on a house tour of our newly built home. This has been a long time coming. We bought our block of land 2 years ago and we are now living and enjoying our space, and it is glorious. So today we're going to go on a little tour. This is the entryway of our home. It is such a focal point for people that arrive at the front door. We are met with a beautiful black arched door, which was intentional to incorporate a lot of black into the home. We live in a coastal home, and typically what you find in coastal homes is a lot of white. And that's something that we didn't want to do because the house is quite a large house and we just needed to break it up. So having this black here, I thought it was a really nice way to start the black accents, which you'll see throughout the home. So this arched door, we have a gorgeous black matte handle, and we've incorporated the black also into our beautiful chandelier. On the walls, you will see that we have created a lot of texture. I wanted to divide the space up and make sure when you walked through, it wasn't just an overwhelming space. I wanted it to feel really warm and cozy as soon as you walk through. So I chose this really gorgeous textured wallpaper, which has got a really slight fine pinstripe through it. I couldn't be happier with this. I played around with a lot of other wallpapers. I wasn't sure if I was going to do something with more pattern through it, maybe something a little bit bolder, but in the end, I didn't want a wallpaper that I would be replacing in years to come. I wanted something that was quite timeless, and this really fit that brief quite well. So you'll see a lot of classical details throughout this house. One being the wall paneling, and I think as soon as you enter the home, that really sets the scene. You're then met with the gorgeous arch, which matches the front door, but it's on a larger scale. We actually have this gorgeous molding around the arch, custom made, because it was either that or it was going to be quite a flat space, and I knew the detailing that we needed was going to be really important. So I was very lucky to work with my builder who made that possible for me. He looked at so many different options to get that detail, and it was very hard to find an architrave that you could mold like this around an arch, but I think he absolutely nailed it. In the entryway, we also have this gorgeous black console, which is from Freedom, but if you have a look at it, it just doesn't look like a standard piece. We've got this beautiful woven drawers with brass handles, and I have teamed that with a textured cream vase with some beautiful branches. These are all faux branches, so I don't need to be replacing them regularly. The frames that I've got are from Kmart. I have printed some beautiful prints off Etsy, and I found that was a really cost-effective way to have some art pieces and make sure the art was sitting on the console so that it gave a nice relaxed feel. I love styling with books, and you'll see this throughout my home. Books are a great way to layer your styling, so you'll see that in our entryway as well. Coming straight through the entrance, you are welcomed into this really beautiful formal dining space, which leads then into the kitchen. It is all very open planned, which was very intentional, but I would have focused here on the stairs right now. I designed this house based around the stairs. I didn't want stairs going straight up. I wanted stairs that were shaped exactly like this, that you would walk up, there would be a landing, and then you would turn and walk up again. Now, the stairs, I wanted to make sure that the treads matched the floors. The floors that we have are a beautiful French oak. It's a little whitewashed, but not too much. We've made sure to keep a lot of warmth in the floors, but we wanted to match the treads to the floors, which I think we've done quite a good job at matching them. You wouldn't tell that they are two separate timbers. The back of the stairs, I didn't want the stairs to be timber. I found it was going to be too heavy for this space, so we actually had those painted white, and I'm so happy that I did. I thought that we'd get a lot of scuff marks, so people would kick their shoes onto the paint, but actually it's standing the test of time, which I'm really happy about. But I'm so glad that we did the white, because it really does make it feel a little bit more open. The black balustrades that we use is the second time that I've used these in a build. We have actually built 4 houses. This is our 4th, hopefully our last. And our last house, I did exactly the same balustrades. I love black steel balustrades. They are super durable, very easy to clean and maintain, and they just add depth to the house. As I mentioned, I wanted to incorporate a lot of black elements into the house, and I think this was the perfect way to do that. It really is such a feature, and because this area that we're standing in right now has got such a large void, there is a lot of balustrades here, so I feel like this is a real statement. It cost a lot more to do this, but it's a bit like an art piece. It was really important that we got this right, and I'm super happy with them. This is our formal dining space. The house is quite large, and we had this space here on the plans, and we tossed up so many different ideas of what to do here. We were thinking maybe a little sitting area, a games room, do we box it in and make it an office? But I really like the idea of having 2 separate dining spaces. One that's more of a casual space that we eat at regularly, and one that we can entertain. We are big entertainers, so it's important for us to have a big table. And this table has actually been with us for about 10 years. So I was very reluctant to get rid of it, but I knew it wasn't going to fit into our casual dining space, so it just made sense that we have this here. This table is an absolute favorite of mine. We had this custom made. We have got these gorgeous black cross legs and a black metal frame. The insert is black butt. Chris, my husband, actually made the insert for this, and it has lasted the test of time. We've had kids paint on this table, kids have grown up with this table, there's been cereal spilled, pastas thrown across the table, and it is still with us. So I hope that we have many more memories to come with this table. As I mentioned, we love a classic style. Bentwoods have been around for a very long time, and they are still such a staple in timeless design and style. I love the black. Again, it ties in with the rest of our house with those accents. These chairs have also been with us for a long time. The imprint on them is a beautiful print. They are from Denmark, I believe, but I could be wrong. This table can actually seat comfortably 10, but if we do want a few extra seats at the table, we can squeeze on 14 people. We have done many Christmases, many events here, and we get a lot of people at this table, and there is a lot of laughter, as you can imagine. I have kept the table styling very minimal. The reason why I have done that is because we have more of a hero feature behind the table, which I'll talk you through in just a moment. I've got this gorgeous table runner from Pottery Barn. It's got a slight olive colour through it, and it's not linen, it's a really durable fabric. We don't eat with this on though, so I make sure that that stays stain-free. I then have this cast iron tray from Pottery Barn and some gorgeous hurricane vases, which are from West Elm, I believe, or possibly Pottery Barn. I was really unsure what to do behind this table because obviously it's such a large space. I needed to make sure I did it justice. I couldn't find a really big buffet, and I didn't want to have a built-in here because I found a built-in would just be too much because we already have a lot of built-in cabinetry. I wanted something that was more standalone, so I chose to go with 2 buffets, exactly the same, and it makes one long streamlined buffet, and I am really glad that I did that because initially I was thinking, is it too much to have 2? Is it going to fit? And I think if I went with 1, it would just be lost. So having a really nice long buffet worked really well, and going with the 2 obviously was my best option. This space is still a work in progress. I am not 100% happy with this, but I'll show you through what I've got at the moment. This artwork that I have is an existing piece from one of my previous homes, and we don't have anywhere else in the house to put it, so for now it is living here. But ultimately I will change this up and really fill the space a lot better. I have got this gorgeous urn. This urn is really heavy and I bought these at a local store in Kira, and I just teamed it with some branches, which are also fake branches, and styling, which is some really minimal styling books, of course, and some asset pieces and some candelabras here. I went with this really nice stone lamp. The space itself is quite big, but I wanted it to still feel really warm and really cozy. So lighting was super important to me. If you have a look in this space, we have quite a large void. So the light that we have, the chandelier that sits over the table, can light up the space, but it is still moody, which I really love. But we did go with some nice wall sconces to add to the moodiness, and the lamp. So at night time, when we are not hosting and we're not using this table, I just leave the lamp on and I put the wall sconces on, and it is such a nice space to walk past. In this space, I have got these two great French doors which look out into the pool. I have also dressed that window with some beautiful linen drapes. You'll notice that the drapes are white, but I went with a black rod. Welcome to my kitchen. This is the heart of the home. We all spend the most time in this space. Being the heart of the house, I really needed to nail this. But you'll see as we go further that the kitchen turns into the dining room, the casual dining room, then turns into the living room. And there is a full wall of cabinetry. Firstly, I went with a shaker style cabinetry. Again, being really classic, I wanted it to feel a little bit farm-like, not so coastal, but incorporating the lighter color obviously still ties it into the surrounds that we are in. Now, when you're in this space, you'll see that our walls are white, our drapes are white. So I wanted to make sure that we were not using a white cabinetry. I chose something off a very small square, a very small swatch, and I'm so happy with how it turned out. The color, I would describe it as a putty gray. It does throw different colors throughout the day, which is really interesting, but I teamed the cabinetry with a brass handle. These handles are an absolute favorite for me. Handle choices that I made for the bottom half of the cabinetry, I went a long handle. So I wanted that variation so that it changed the texture of the kitchen and added a little bit more depth and style. You'll see that we have two wall ovens, not just one. That's right, guys, we have two. Two is something that is really important to us because quite often we're cooking at different temperatures. So I might be roasting potatoes at a really high temperature and then something else at a lower temperature. So that's just really convenient for us in our family, and we use it all the time, both ovens regularly. Our fridge space was a bit of a work in progress. We had such a big space to fill, and originally I was looking at a large fridge, but when you look at those really large fridges, they are expensive. And I think the fridge that I was looking at originally to fill that space was about $40,000, which is an absolute no. Who's spending $40,000 on a fridge? Let's be honest, it's not us. But that just meant that I needed to come up with a way to fill this space. So after doing some research and using Pinterest, which is my best friend when I'm building a house like this, I saw on Pinterest this really great little way to fill some cabinetry next to the fridge space. It looks like it was just meant to be the whole time. I wanted a little extra detail on there, so I ordered some gallery rails from Etsy. These gallery rails are a brass. They are really fine, but they absolutely make that space. The brass pendants I bought from Beaumont's. I love the element of how we have the two brass poles coming down. I think that also ties into the gallery rails that we have and has a nice brass shade. So those lights, I think, are not a feature in the house, but they just blend in, and I think that then makes the kitchen more of a hero piece, but it frames it out so nicely. This is where we do a lot of our cooking here at the back bench. You will see that we have the back bench and we have our island bench. On the island bench is where our main sink and our dishwashers are and our bins, and we have some extra cabinetry built in there. We decided to still wrap the bench in shaker style cabinetry rather than have a waterfall stone edge. And I just think for us that just works so nicely. We have 4 stools along that main island bench, and as I said, this is an absolute go-to in our house. I have this gorgeous tap, which I can't even remember where I got this from. I fell in love with the brushed nickel and the shape of this. Again, the shape is just so classic. This will not go out of date. Our countertops, we went with a really beautiful stone. It has a slight vein through it. It's grey. We didn't want something flat, so this really worked well for us. I wanted to carry this stone up onto the backsplash here because I wanted something that I could spray and clean really easy, and I'm really happy with the choice that we made here. This is the first time in any of our builds that we have selected to use a pot filler. Guys, if you are building a house and you love cooking, do yourself a favor and put in a pot filler. It is my favorite accessory in the kitchen, to the point where anyone that comes to my home for the first time, this is the first thing I show them. I think it is an absolute game changer. With our stove, we went with a 5-burner gas top. Again, I just feel like this look worked so much better for us than the induction. Because we have a really long wall of cabinetry, I wanted to break it up by putting some glass doors in here. And this was a great way to display some really beautiful pieces that we have. Inside here, we have some gorgeous cut crystal glasses from Chris's mother's mum. And it's a really nice way to have some family history on display in those cabinets, but something that we can use on a regular as well. Welcome to my absolute favorite place. It is my pantry. No word of a lie, I sometimes come in here and I just stand and I admire. There is so much goodness in here. Okay, where to start? Firstly, I have a black cabinetry. That I needed to do because of all the cabinetry that we have, which was all one color in the kitchen, living and casual dining, and it flows straight through to our pantry. Now that is a really long wall. I needed to make sure that we had to break that up to create this as its own space. So I chose to do something completely contrasting to the putty grey that I used out in our kitchen area. We have gone full black, and I couldn't be happier. A few of the people working on site tried to talk me out of a black pantry because black does mark. I just want to let you guys know it does mark, but it doesn't really bother me. I just thought it was so beautiful. I needed to keep things consistent though, because we are doing 2 different colors. I needed to make sure that the style of the cabinetry stayed the same, so you can see that I'm still using the shaker style in here, and also the handles are the same. And the handles with the brass really pop. This is our butler's sink, and this actually works quite well for us. I have a drying rack to the left-hand side of the sink. You will see that I have used the same tap from the kitchen also into the butler's pantry. In the butler's pantry, we have a bin, we have some storage, and I have another dish drawer. In the kitchen, I have 2 dish drawers. In the butler's, I have 1. We don't tend to use the butler's dish drawer as often as the kitchen because we have the drying rack and we do a lot of washing up of pots and pans, so that stays in here. And by having it all in here, it is away from the naked eye, which means that it's not ruining the appeal of the kitchen, and it still feels like a really nice serenity space when you're there by hiding the mess. Behind me, you will see my husband's favorite area of the house is our wine cellar. I don't know much about the wine cellar, so I'll make a few things up. It stores a lot of wine. Maybe hundreds of bottles, 500 bottles maybe, I'm not sure. What I do know though is I wanted this door to be black to match the pantry and the cabinetry that we chose in here. So this is a really gorgeous feature that you can see from the kitchen, you can see it from our living room, because the pantry is in its own separate room. We have created this beautiful arch as the entry, and when you look through the arch you see straight into the cellar. It is
beautiful. It is stunning. The countertop that I used in our pantry is actually a porcelain. It gives the look of a black marble because it has a really nice grey vein through it. I really love how this looks. It was the first time using porcelain, and I know that there's quite a lot to know about using porcelain, which I was not aware of, but my builders and my cabinet maker were very great, educating me on the best practices around using porcelain and different edging that we can have. Behind the shelving and behind the cabinetry, rather than going with a flat wall, I chose to use a shiplap plaster. By doing this, it gives a nice vertical change, gives extra texture, which was important in this space. I love this space so much. All right, we have a lot of open space, but I also have a lot of storage in here. All of the pantries that I have been filled with kids' snacks, and it's not very aesthetically pleasing. I wanted this time to have a pantry where everything is behind a door or behind a drawer. The only things that I wanted out on display were things that we were using regularly, and that was important to me, not to hide that away, because we want to live in this space comfortably and not feel like we're on show all the time. So let's talk about these jars. A lot of these jars I bought brand new, and I created labels for them. The labels that I actually did myself. On the countertop, this is quite full and quite busy, but I still love how it looks. It just looks like how a pantry or a kitchen should look. And I'm not oblivious to the fact that not every pantry looks like this. But for me, I spend so much time cooking that I really wanted to make sure that I had a beautiful space to enjoy. So here we have got our air fryer and our Ninja, which we use for smoothies. I have these metal baskets from maybe Kmart or somewhere cheap. I have a little basket of cutlery because our outdoor table is quite far from our kitchen. I wanted this little basket which has got pre-stocked cutlery in it and also some napkins. I've used a few recipe books in here as styling elements. So again, rather than tucking the recipe books away, I have them out on display, which means we can still use them, but they also look really good as a styling piece. You'll see that I have gone with a dark walnut timber for the frames. These frames are also nice and cheap, and I have got prints from Etsy once again. The kids have easy access to a bread basket, and next to the bread basket we have our coffee machine. This coffee machine came with us from our last place. It is in white, but everything else is black, and I actually don't mind a little bit of that contrast in here. And then everything else that you don't see is tucked behind our pantry door or all of our drawers. Flowing on from the kitchen, we come straight into our casual dining area. This is where we eat every single night except when we're hosting, and in that case we're sitting at our formal dining. This space was important to make sure there is a lot of flow that can easily go from kitchen, dining into our living area. Choosing a round dining table worked best for us because it does give you access to move around the space a lot more freely. In terms of styling, this is very minimal because again, we are moving this around every single night. I've gone with a brass round tray from Pottery Barn, a beautiful vase from one of our local shops, and some faux hydrangeas. I actually have hydrangeas in my garden. They are yet to blossom because they are only 5 months old, and I'm waiting for the day that I can snip them off and put them in this vase, but for now I have got some faux flowers in there. Behind the casual dining we have this really nice beautiful bench seat which is in front of the window. The bench seat does need a bench cushion. I am yet to get around to doing that, but quite often I sit there anyway. It's a great breakaway space. I often read a book there. Sometimes I play cards there. So I can't wait to actually get that space all finished. There is a lot of storage under that bench seat. We chose to do drawers rather make them flat panels so that we could utilize the space there. And that's where all of our games live. In this space, I had a little window which overlooks the pool, and I wanted to put something under there. So I went with this really beautiful timber console table, which has got round edges. I intentionally went with the rounder shape because we have a round table behind us, and I thought if I put a rectangle shape there, it would just be too strong. So the round is really soft and beautiful. I've styled it with a lamp, some styling books, and a beautiful photo that I took in Italy a few years ago. And I love seeing this photo in my house because it just reminds me of the time and the memories that we have there. Right after our kitchen, we spend the second most amount of time in our living space. For this space, I wanted it to be a nice, large, family-sized space. We have teenage kids, and when you have teenage kids, that means that there is always more teenage kids to follow, and we often have so many kids at our house. I wanted to create a space where we could all sit and all watch the TV or watch a movie together or play some games. I chose this incredible couch, which my family love. It is deep, which was great for us. It is long enough, and we have this great chase, so we can really relax into this space. So this couch is a real treat for us. I have anchored the space using this 3x4 meter rug. I got this rug from Freedom by accident. I went in there looking for cushions and I walked out with a rug, and I'm so happy that I did because I really feel like this rug works so well in the space. I just couldn't imagine another rug that would complete the space like this. But because of the colors through the rug, that really dictated to me what color cushions I was going to use and what color accent chairs I wanted. I didn't want the accent chairs or the armchairs to match the couch. I wanted something with a little bit of texture and a slightly different color. But as you can see in my living room, we are going for muted colors. There is nothing bold here. I wanted to make sure that the pieces that we purchased are purchased for longevity. So I have gone with these gorgeous armchairs from West Elm. I love to sit here. I love to just drape my legs over the edges. The cushions that I chose actually have a really similar color through them, and it's got some beautiful gold through it with a nice sage green. And these cushions are from Walter G. I'm obsessed with Walter G, so I have got quite a few of their cushions here. We have a fireplace which sits under the TV, and I wanted to make sure that we had a space to sit and enjoy that. Whilst we have our beautiful big couch, we also have these two ottomans or footstools which we can sit at and enjoy the fire if we wanted to be a little bit closer to it. Our coffee table, I wouldn't have worked with a round coffee table. I needed to make sure that the shape was right and the shape could actually flow with the shape of the couch. Being a chase couch, I knew that we needed to go with a rectangle coffee table, and I wanted something in timber, not marble, because I felt like the marble might clash too much with the rug. So I found this wonderful large coffee table, and we all sit around this. It is a perfect size for this space. We are surrounded by lots of windows in this space. I chose to use colonial bars on all of my windows downstairs because there is such a large space. I wanted to see texture throughout. And with the windows that we are surrounded by, at night time for some privacy, we added some floor-to-ceiling drapes, which I think just really soften the space. My favorite part about this lounge room, except for the rug and the armchairs and the couch, basically everything, is the built-in cabinetry. I really enjoy seeing how the TV is framed with this built-in cabinetry. It really makes it feel like a home. We have got some new pieces, but also a lot of collected pieces. The pieces that I've been collecting along the way over years, and other things that we have just chosen to purchase to complete the styling up here. Just really adds so much warmth to our house. Behind the shelving, I didn't want it to be a flat panel, so I chose to use a VJ paneling behind the shelving just to give it a little bit more texture. To fill the space of the bottom shelf, I chose to fill the space with big baskets. I knew if I didn't put the baskets there, it would be too much and it would be too busy. So I feel like that is just a really nice detail that I would do again if I had to. As you can see, I love my styling books, and I think they just add layer to styling pieces. And it is a must for me to have these styling books, because if you take them away, you're left with a lot of vessels and not much else to do. In the corner is a real life olive tree. I love olive trees. We have them in our garden out the front, and I have used olive trees in most of my houses in the gardens. But having that olive tree inside also just adds a really nice element of greenery, which ties into the rug and into the armchairs that we have. We have a small powder room downstairs on the lower level. I have gone with matching cabinetry here, the same stone I have used in the kitchen. The walls are white. I would eventually love to add a really beautiful wallpaper to this, just to add a little bit more life into it. The tapware, we have used the same throughout all of our bathrooms. And the mirror that I chose is a really beautiful, dainty Moroccan style. It has a really gorgeous thin brass trimming and looks absolutely beautiful in that space. I continued the black cabinetry through to our laundry as well. The laundry is a really lovely space to be. I am here a lot, so I wanted to enjoy this space. We have got two really great big size washer and dryer, also in black. The details that we have gone with are very minimal in here, but I have chosen to put up 4 botanical prints in a black beaded frame. I can't remember where I purchased them from, but they're really pretty. The oatmeal blind in here also matches the oatmeal blind in the pantry. This is a DIY blind. For a lot of our blinds we did DIY. For something like this, we didn't want to invest too much money into, because it is the laundry after all. It's not a space where there's a lot of thoroughfare. It's really just me or our family in here. The pantry you will also find is doubled as a mudroom. Our mudroom is all behind doors. I was over the kids having these great little hooks to hang their bags up, but they still end up on the floor. So now the kids are forced to put them behind the doors, and I can close it off, and I just don't even care how messy it is in there. They can do them, I can do me. And in fact, my area in the mudroom is not that neat either. It is another one of those places where it's just things are thrown in there and we'll organize it later. There is a lot of storage in here. We have 2 large broom cupboards. And what I have learned in the past when designing laundries is storage is key. We have a great little bench spot here, so the kids or I or husband or whoever can sit down and put their shoes on. So it's a very functional space that we all use quite a lot. This is our guest room. It is large enough to fit 2 queen-size beds, which was very intentional. Through the design phase of this build, I really had to think about the ages of our kids, what we do on a weekend, how we entertain. And we know for us, we have a lot of people stay over, whether it's friends from different areas that come and stay with us. We have friends from different parts of Queensland that like to spend time down here as well. So, and their families. We wanted to make sure that we had somewhere that they could spend and be really comfortable. But I also have 2 teenage kids. And a lot of the time they have lots of friends over. Quite often we might have 4 or 5 teenagers here sleeping over all at once. And whilst the rooms are a perfect addition for kids to stay there, we also wanted a bigger space where they are downstairs and quite separate from us, giving them the freedom but also feeling really comfortable. Which is why we have gone with 2 queen-size beds in here. Knowing that we have a boy and a girl, I wanted the space to feel very neutral. I didn't want it to be too feminine or too masculine. So I anchored the space using a lot of greens and olives. I'm very lucky because my husband owns Linen Social, and it is a bedding company. I have actually worked with Chris, my husband, on creating some of the designs for his prints and for his bedding, and a lot of those I have utilized throughout our entire house. But one thing I love to do with our linens, and is something I did here, is create a lot of layers. So layers and using different pattern on pattern. I don't love flat colors. I love to use pinstripe or checks with some solid colors, but then I like to throw in maybe a botanical cushion. So you can see on these two beds, I have gone with a beautiful checkered top sheet and fitted sheet. And on top of that, I have used a quilt, which has got a beautiful olive pinstripe through it. And on the other side is just olive, a flat olive. So I've used the quilt to turn down, and it's created a little bit of depth through the bed by seeing the olive with the olive pinstripe. The Euro pillows, I also did olive pinstripe. I thought that all tied in quite nicely. And for the cushions, I went with Walter G. On the styling side, I have used a lot of repurposed furniture from other houses that we've had. So I don't particularly love this. I won't focus too much in on this because some pieces are quite old. But on the wall is one of my favorite pieces that's been with me for a few years, is a Dharma door wall hanging. And I just think that anchors the space really nicely. The bed heads go up against the windows. I have chosen to use Roman blinds there, and our main window is framed with some really nice linen drapes. Our guest room also has a walk-in wardrobe, and through the walk-in wardrobe you can then access the ensuite. This is our guest ensuite. For the tiles, I went really quite neutral. It's a stone color with some white flecks and white waves through it. It does add a little bit of texture on the walls, but I didn't do floor to ceiling tiles on the entire ensuite. I love to break up floor to ceiling tiles with the use of wallpaper. I didn't want the wallpaper to be too overpowering. I really wanted the feature in this bathroom to be the beautiful green cabinetry that I chose. We have 4.5 bathrooms in our house. And because the house is quite large, I wanted to break every space up and not make it all the same. I wanted each space to have its own personality. So you'll notice that in all of our bathrooms, everything is different, all the cabinetry colors. We have made sure to keep things consistent in the basins that we use, the benchtop colors, and also the tapware that we've chosen. All of the tapware that we use is from ABI Interiors on the Gold Coast. And you'll notice in all of our bathrooms, we have used a lot of mixed metals, which is the first time that I did that, but I was so happy that we did because it really stands out. There's nothing that's too matchy. It is quite timeless. All of the mirrors in our bathrooms, except for my daughter's bathroom and the powder room, we have had custom made. So the mirror is actually surrounded by a really beautiful fine black metal. In this bathroom, my favorite feature is this cabin light that I have. It took me a long time to find this light. In fact, lighting throughout the whole house probably was one thing that took me the most time. That is downstairs of our house tour all done. We're going to head upstairs and check out the second level, but stay tuned because that will be in part 2 of our home tour vlog. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I greatly appreciate it.